Long before cats curled up on our couches or purred softly beside us, they were fierce hunters, rulers of prehistoric jungles and icy plains. The story of cats didn't begin with domestic pets. It began millions of years ago, with creatures that could take down mammoths. Around 25 million years ago, the first true cats began to appear. These ancient felines were not your soft, cute companions. They were warriors of survival. Among them, one stood above all: the saber-toothed cat, also known as Smilodon. With its massive body, muscular build, and giant curved teeth extending up to 7 inches long, Smilodon was a symbol of raw power. It didn't chase its prey like modern lions. It ambushed, waiting in tall grass, striking with precision. Fossil evidence shows that Smilodon lived in the Americas, hunting giant bison, sloths, and even small mammoths. But despite its strength, it wasn't invincible. As the Ice Age ended and its prey began to disappear, so did the saber-toothed cat, a reminder that even the mightiest can fall when nature changes its course. But evolution never stops. While Smilodon was fading away, other feline lines were quietly adapting. Scientists believe all modern cats, from tigers to house cats, share a common ancestor that lived about 10 to 12 million years ago. This ancient feline, small and agile, began to spread across continents: Africa, Asia, and Europe, evolving to fit new environments. In Africa, they grew larger and stronger, eventually becoming the Panthera family: lions, leopards, and jaguars. In Asia, stealthy hunters like the tiger emerged. Meanwhile, smaller species evolved for forests and deserts, ancestors of our modern wildcats. These early wildcats were already showing signs of what makes cats so unique: independence, silent movement, and a mysterious intelligence that sets them apart from other animals. They didn't live in herds like dogs or wolves. They were solitary masters of their own world. The journey from these ancient hunters to our elegant Siamese cats took millions of years, shaped by evolution, climate, and a strange friendship between humans and wildcats. But that friendship didn't begin yet. The first connection, when wildcats met humans. Thousands of years had passed since the saber-toothed giants vanished from the earth. The world had warmed, forests spread, and humankind began to rise. People learned to plant seeds, harvest crops, and settle in one place, marking the dawn of civilization. But with stored grain came a new problem: rats and mice. And with those tiny invaders came an unexpected savior: the wildcat. Somewhere around 10,000 years ago, in the fertile lands of the Middle East, small wildcats known as Felis sylvestris libica began creeping closer to human settlements. These cats weren't domesticated, not yet. They were clever opportunists. Where humans stored food, rodents gathered, and where rodents gathered, cats followed. At first, humans probably saw them as pests, silent shadows lurking in the dark. But over time, something magical began to happen. The farmers noticed that wherever cats appeared, the rats disappeared. Grain stayed safe. Life became easier. Slowly, fear turned into acceptance. The wildcats, too, realized that humans meant safety, no predators, easy food, and warm shelter. It wasn't love at first sight. but it was mutual benefit, the beginning of a partnership written by nature itself. Archaeologists have found evidence of this bond in ancient villages across the Fertile Crescent, where cat bones were discovered near human homes. One of the most beautiful proofs comes from Cyprus, an island where a 9,500-year-old grave shows a human buried with their cat side by side. That's not just survival, that's connection. Unlike dogs, who were trained and bred for service, cats chose to live with humans on their own terms. That independence, that "I'll stay if I want to" attitude, has remained in every cat since. They were never truly tamed, only befriended. As humans spread across continents, these early cats followed, traveling with merchants, sailors, and farmers. Wherever humans built homes, cats built kingdoms. And slowly, through this ancient companionship, the first true domestic cats were born. The sacred cats of Egypt, from hunters to gods. As the sun rose over the golden sands of ancient Egypt, something extraordinary was happening. Wild cats were no longer just hunters. They had become symbols of divinity. Among the mighty pyramids and flowing Nile, cats found a new home, not as mere animals, but as creatures of the gods. Around 4,000 years ago, Egyptians discovered something truly special about cats. They watched these graceful animals hunt snakes, protect grain stores, and move with silent confidence. To them, cats weren't just useful, they were magical. They seemed to carry mystery in their eyes that glowed like the moonlight over the desert. The Egyptians began to associate cats with protection, beauty, and femininity. Soon, one goddess came to represent all that a cat symbolized: Bastet. She was often depicted with the body of a woman and the head of a cat, holding an ankh, the sign of life. Bastet wasn't just a deity, she was the guardian of home and family, the bringer of joy and fertility. Families across Egypt welcomed cats into their homes, not only for their hunting skills, but as a sign of divine blessing. Killing or harming a cat, even by accident, was considered a grave sin, punishable by death. That's how deep their reverence went. Cats began appearing in Egyptian art, jewelry, and tombs. Pharaohs kept cats as companions, and when a cat died, families mourned deeply, shaving their eyebrows as a sign of grief. Some cats were even mummified, buried with their owners so that they could journey together into the afterlife. Trade along the Nile and across the Mediterranean helped spread cats beyond Egypt's borders. Merchants and sailors took them aboard ships to control rodents, unknowingly carrying these sacred animals to new lands: Greece, Rome, and eventually all of Europe. But in Egypt, cats remained eternal symbols of grace, patience, and mystery. Their golden eyes seemed to hold secrets older than pyramids, and their quiet purr was a hymn of comfort in a land of gods and kings. The world had seen the birth of the domestic cat, but its journey was far from over. The traveling companions, how cats conquered the ancient world. When Egypt's glory began to spread through trade and travel, its secrets and treasures didn't travel alone. Cats went with them. What started as a sacred bond along the Nile soon became a global journey that changed the destiny of felines forever. Merchants sailing across the Mediterranean Sea carried cats aboard their ships. These furry sailors weren't there for companionship. They were working crew members, their job to hunt down rats that chewed through ropes, damaged cargo, and spread disease. But little did the sailors know, these tiny hunters were quietly colonizing the world. From Egypt to Greece, Rome, and eventually Europe. Cats followed trade routes, adapting to every new land. The Greeks admired their elegance and agility. The Romans, ever practical, valued their hunting skill and began keeping them in homes, barns, and temples. In ancient Roman art, cats appeared beside goddesses like Diana, symbolizing independence and feminine power. As Rome expanded its empire, cats spread with it across Europe into Asia, and even reaching the farthest edges of the known world. They became protectors of food stores, companions of farmers, and silent observers in city streets. But not everyone saw cats with admiration. In some cultures, their mysterious nature, their ability to see in darkness, their unpredictable moods made people uneasy. Some saw them as creatures of luck, others as omens. Still, their usefulness kept them close to humans. Even in villages where superstitions ran wild, a cat was too valuable to ignore. Cats adapted like no other species, from the warm deserts of the Middle East to the snowy mountains of Europe. Their thickening fur, changing colors, and growing intelligence were signs of quiet evolution. Unlike dogs, who served openly and loyally, cats blended in, choosing independence over obedience. By the time the ancient empires rose and fell, cats had achieved something incredible. They had become citizens of the world, spreading their legacy across continents without conquest, without war, just through presence. The Dark Ages, when cats became witches' companions. As centuries passed and empires crumbled, the world entered a period of shadows. The Dark Ages, science dimmed, fear grew, and superstition ruled hearts and minds. In this era of mystery and fear, the once revered cat, especially the black one, became a creature of suspicion. In medieval Europe, cats' quiet and secretive nature, once admired in Egypt, now seemed unnatural. Their glowing eyes in the night, their silent footsteps, and their tendency to appear and vanish without sound all became symbols of dark magic. People began to whisper that cats were familiars of witches, servants of the devil himself. The church's growing fear of pagan beliefs turned cats into scapegoats. Stories spread that witches could transform into cats to spy on people or cast spells. Black cats, in particular, were seen as unlucky or cursed, a superstition that, sadly, still survives in some parts of the world today. Across Europe, cats were hunted, tortured, and killed in massive numbers. Towns organized festivals where cats were burned or thrown from towers, believed to drive away evil spirits. It was one of the darkest moments in the relationship between humans and these graceful animals. But nature has its own justice. With fewer cats around, rats and mice multiplied uncontrollably, carrying with them one of the deadliest plagues in human history, the Black Death of the 14th century. Ironically, the very creatures accused of bringing evil could have helped prevent it. When the truth became evident, attitudes began to shift once again. Over time, cats slowly regained their place in society. Sailors still trusted them on ships. Farmers still valued them in barns. Quietly, patiently, cats survived, as they always do. They didn't fight back or demand acceptance. They simply endured, waiting for a time when humans would open their eyes again. And that time did come. As the Renaissance dawned, bringing light, art, and curiosity back to the world, the image of the cat began to change once more. They were no longer demons or witches' companions, but elegant, mysterious, and wise creatures, symbols of balance between beauty and independence. The Renaissance revival, when cats returned to grace after centuries of darkness. The Renaissance swept across Europe like a sunrise after a long night. Art, science, and human curiosity awakened once again, and with that awakening came a renewed appreciation for the natural world. Among the many things rediscovered was the quiet beauty of the cat. Painters, poets, and scholars began to notice what ancient Egyptians had seen long ago, that cats were not symbols of evil, but of grace, intelligence, and mystery. Their poise, their independence, their almost regal calm began to inspire artists. In paintings and literature, cats appeared not as dark omens, but as companions of thinkers and dreamers. One of the earliest European portraits featuring a cat appeared in Leonardo da Vinci's sketches. Leonardo, fascinated by anatomy and motion, admired cats for their perfect balance and fluid movement. He once wrote that the smallest feline is a masterpiece. That single line captured the spirit of the Renaissance, a time that sought beauty and meaning, even in the smallest things. As trade expanded and exploration connected continents, cats traveled further than ever before. Sailors continued to bring them aboard ships for protection against rodents, unknowingly helping spread new breeds across Europe and Asia. The European shorthair, for instance, became a common sight in cities and farms, blending naturally into human life. In wealthier homes, cats began to appear as status symbols. Aristocrats and noble women kept them as elegant companions, brushing their coats and adorning them with ribbons. The image of a lady with a cat by her side became one of sophistication, a far cry from the witchcraft tales of the previous age. But beyond elegance and art, something deeper was happening. Humans had started to understand cats on their own terms. Unlike dogs, who lived to please, cats lived to coexist. They chose affection freely, and people learned to respect that independence. The Renaissance had not only revived art and science, it had revived the bond between humans and cats. One built this time on respect rather than fear. Yet, this was still not the end of their journey. As explorers sailed toward the new world, cats would once again travel with them, ready to conquer yet another continent. The new world travelers, cats across oceans and empires. By the 15th and 16th centuries, Europe was awakening not only to art and science, but to the thrill of exploration. Ships set sail for unknown lands, carrying spices, gold, and a quiet companion that had survived millennia, the cat. These feline travelers were destined to leave paw prints on every corner of the globe. Cats were perfect sailors, small, nimble, and fearless. They kept ships free of rats and mice, protecting precious cargo and food supplies. Sailors quickly realized their value, treating cats as part of the crew. Unlike dogs, cats didn't need commands. They did their job silently, efficiently, and without complaint. Some even believed cats could predict storms or calm turbulent seas, adding a touch of superstition to their mystique. As ships reached the Americas, cats disembarked in ports across the Caribbean, South America and North America. They adapted quickly, hunting local rodents, exploring forests, and mingling with native wildlife. Soon, cats were living in villages, towns, and eventually cities, blending into human communities while maintaining their independent nature. Meanwhile, in Asia, trade routes from Europe and the Middle East introduced new breeds, merging with local wildcats to create distinct lineages. Japan, for instance, saw the rise of cats admired for their beauty and charm, often depicted in ukiyo-e art as symbols of luck and protection. Back in Europe, cats were no longer just companions or hunters. They were cultural icons. Writers and artists began to celebrate their elegance, their mysterious eyes, and their unpredictable behavior. Cats became symbols of curiosity, independence, and quiet wisdom, traits that resonated with explorers and scholars alike. By the time the 17th century rolled around, cats had truly become global citizens, from the icy shores of Scandinavia to the tropical islands of the Caribbean. From bustling European cities to the farmlands of Asia, cats were everywhere. Yet, no matter where they traveled, one thing remained unchanged: their unique ability to balance independence with companionship. This global spread would set the stage for the rise of specific breeds, cultivated for beauty, temperament, and elegance. From the exotic Persian to the agile Siamese, cats were about to transition from survival-driven wanderers to cherished companions in every home. The birth of breeds, from wild hunters to elegant companions, as cats traveled across continents, adapting to new climates and human cultures. A remarkable transformation began: the rise of distinct breeds. What was once a wild, solitary hunter slowly evolved into the elegant companions we recognize today. This was not overnight. It was a blend of nature, human influence, and selective admiration. In the Middle East, the ancestors of the Persian cat began to appear. Traders and travelers prized these long-haired beauties for their silky coats and gentle demeanor. Unlike their wild ancestors, these cats were bred for calmness and elegance, often kept in the courts of nobles and merchants. Their quiet, refined personalities set them apart. They were no longer just hunters, but symbols of luxury. Meanwhile, in Southeast Asia, the Siamese cat began its journey. Known for its striking blue eyes, pointed markings, and sleek body, the Siamese was a marvel of agility and beauty. These cats were revered in temples and royal courts, believed to bring spiritual protection and good fortune. Their sociable nature and intelligence made them perfect companions for humans. Yet they retained the independence and sharp instincts inherited from their wild ancestors. In Europe, local wildcats combined with imported breeds, creating cats that were adaptable, resilient, and varied in appearance. The European Shorthair, for example, became a beloved house cat, versatile in hunting and gentle in companionship. Over time, selective breeding emphasized temperament, coat color, and unique traits, resulting in the incredible diversity we see today. Cats were no longer just survival specialists. They became refined companions, celebrated for their personality as much as their appearance. They could still hunt, climb, and survive in the wild, but they also learned to curl on laps, respond to affection, and form deep bonds with humans. Yet, the essence of the cat remained unchanged. Whether Persian, Siamese, or Maine Coon, every breed carried the echoes of the wild hunter within. The keen eyesight, lightning reflexes, and that subtle air of mystery. They were both domesticated and untamed, a perfect balance that humans had admired for thousands of years. As the 18th and 19th centuries arrived, cat breeding became more intentional. Shows, clubs, and registries began cataloging the beauty and variety of cats, elevating them from humble hunters to stars of households and society. The modern cat, from ancient legends to living companions. By the 18th and 19th centuries, cats had firmly established themselves as beloved members of human society. From the wild hunters of prehistoric times to the sacred guardians of Egypt, they had completed a remarkable transformation. Yet they retained the mystery and independence that had always defined them. In Europe, cat breeding became a serious pursuit. Aristocrats and enthusiasts began to develop pedigrees, focusing on coat patterns, colors, temperament, and unique features. Breeds like the British short hair gained popularity for their calm demeanor and plush coats, while the Siamese and Persians captivated the imagination with their elegance and exotic charm. Cat shows emerged, showcasing beauty, grace, and personality, a far cry from the working cats of barns and ships. Meanwhile, the domestic cat's role in households evolved. No longer just hunters of rodents, they became companions, confidants, and even family members. People marveled at their playful antics, their affectionate purrs, and the quiet intelligence that allowed them to communicate without words. Their ability to choose when to show affection set them apart from any other pet, earning them respect and admiration across cultures. In North America, cats traveled with settlers and explorers, adapting to farms, towns, and cities. Over time, they became symbols of comfort and domestic stability. Literature and art from the era reflected this bond. Cats appeared in poetry, paintings, and even folklore, often representing wisdom, curiosity, and protection. Yet, despite this growing closeness with humans, cats never lost their instinctual edge. Even the most pampered house cat retains the prowess of its wild ancestors, sharp senses, agile movements, and a hunting instinct that surfaces in play. This delicate balance between wildness and domestication is what makes cats so fascinating, so timeless, and so beloved. The modern cat is therefore a living testament to millions of years of evolution, from the saber-toothed predators of the Ice Age to the mystical guardians of ancient temples to the cherished companions in homes today. Each purr, stretch, and blink carries echoes of survival, adaptation, and the unique partnership between humans and cats. The future of cats, from ancient hunters to global icons. As we arrive in the modern era, the story of cats comes full circle. From the fearsome saber-toothed hunters of the Ice Age to the graceful Siamese curled on a velvet cushion, cats have adapted, survived, and thrived alongside humans for millions of years. But their journey is far from over. The future of cats promises new roles, new forms, and continued fascination. Today, cats are among the most popular pets in the world, cherished not just for their beauty, but for their personality. Advances in veterinary science, nutrition, and breeding have allowed cats to live longer, healthier lives, while the rise of cat cafes, social media stars, and online communities has turned them into global icons. A single cat can inspire millions, becoming a symbol of joy, curiosity, and resilience. Yet, modern cats are also adapting to a rapidly changing environment. Urbanization, climate change, change, and technological lifestyles mean cats are learning new ways to coexist with humans. Indoor cats are safer but rely on enrichment and play to satisfy their hunting instincts. Outdoor and feral cats navigate busy cities, learning to survive while maintaining the independence that defines them. Breeds continue to evolve as well. Selective breeding emphasizes not only appearance, but temperament, intelligence, and adaptability, creating cats that are better companions for a variety of human lifestyles. Hybrid breeds, like the Bengal or Savannah, combine wild instincts with domestic charm, reminding us of the wild roots that still pulse through every feline heartbeat. Culturally, cats remain mystical and inspiring. They are celebrated in art, literature, and media, often representing independence, curiosity, and wisdom. Across the globe, their presence transcends species boundaries. They are companions, muses, and sometimes even therapy animals, offering comfort and emotional connection to millions of people. What makes the future of cats truly remarkable is this balance. They are both domesticated and untamed, ancient and modern. They carry the legacy of predators that walked alongside mammoths, guardians that protected grain stores, and companions that inspired kings and commoners alike. Every blink, purr, and playful leap is a continuation of a story written over millions of years. As humans and cats move forward together, one thing remains clear. Cats will always be mysterious, independent, and deeply loved. From the wild plains to the cozy living room, from sacred temples to Instagram fame, the evolution of cats is a testament to resilience, adaptation, and the enduring magic of the feline spirit.